Good morning and welcome to another episode of Research Connects. I'm your host, Cliff Lamb, and we're live at the 2026 Animal Ag Tech Innovation Summit in Fort Worth. With me for this episode is Carl Muntean, and Carl works as the Director of the Corporate Engagement and Research Support Team under AgriLife Research. Good morning, Carl.
Good morning.
Thanks a lot for joining us, and tell me a little bit about your background and how you ended up in your role and what you do.
Sure. So I was a grad student in animal science, working on a PhD, and had an opportunity to interview for a position as a project manager in what was formerly corporate relations, and in 2011 I jumped on board with AgriLife Research corporate relations at that time, and progressed through project management to currently be the director. Again, background animal science, animal breeding, and genetics, and have enjoyed my role in AgriLife Research.
So you do a great job of managing that office, but one of the things that a lot of people have a tough time of understanding with the universities and how these public entities interact with commercial entities, right? And so tell me how your operation actually helps stimulate those relationships and that research.
Sure. So as we all know, federal funding is the lifeblood, but obviously we've got to diversify our portfolio of research projects. And so our team has the capability of having a Rolodex, if you will, of industry partners that have interest in research. And so my team does a good job of trying to understand where we've got research that may be relevant to industry, and helping faculty understand what the opportunities are for industry funding. We'll help them engage with industry partners, or if they've already got an industry contact, we'll jump in and help them navigate AgriLife Research. As most would know, an academic institution has some bureaucracy, has some challenges, but we try to do a good job of helping streamline that, being more nimble, more responsive, and being able to make those connections for faculty that maybe otherwise they wouldn't know how to make or don't understand how to move those forward to a tangible project.
Sounds good. So one of the questions that often comes up when we start talking about engaging with private industry is intellectual property. Can you share a little bit about how intellectual property might be managed between a company and AgriLife Research?
Sure, and actually most of our projects that are successful with industry are based on some level of intellectual property. The way that we handle it, our standard terminology is whatever we invent is ours, whatever they invent is theirs, whatever we invent together we own together. But when a company enters into an agreement for sponsored research, in that agreement there's language that they get the first right to negotiate for exclusivity if they want it. If they don't, they can take a non-exclusive right. And so while we maintain ownership at the system level, we try to manage IP in a way that we protect it appropriately, build the correct IP fence, but also understand that commercially reasonable terms are going to be required, because research for the sake of research to put IP on the shelf isn't really our goal. As the director, obviously taking those out and making sure that they have an impact on our industry, that's what we want to do. And so we work hand in hand with Texas A&M Innovation to make sure that we have reasonable terms, we understand the goals of the company, we protect it appropriately along the way, and then provide the runway necessary to get those out into the stakeholders' hands to be able to implement and better our industry.
Yep. And we're aware, right, that our strength isn't in commercializing.
That's right. We're researchers. That's our core competency. We want to develop the IP, and if we need to validate it or build a regulatory package or even marketing data for those companies, if they're small and don't have that resource internally, we're happy to do that. We also understand that they're more adept at finding investors and understanding how to enter the market. We can do the research to validate it, as I said, and give them the data package to really get those folks on board. But yeah, we're the researchers. They're the commercial partner for a reason, and we want to work with them to help along the way, but hand it off to most of those companies to take it to commercialization.
Well, thanks a lot. Really appreciate you joining us this morning. And that's a wrap for this episode of Research Connects. Again, I want to thank Carl Muntean for taking the time to come and visit with us this morning. Catch more episodes throughout the summit on our social media networks.
Yeah.
Thank you.